Hello there, and welcome to another banger edition of the Hole Up Project. I'll be your host, and right here behind me is going to be my subject. I say that because it's kind of like a parasite, and I would be the parasite, and this truck would obviously be the host that I'm feeding on. Oh, only kidding, only kidding. But let's see what we got going on here. Yesterday, I stabbed the quarter panel. Nope, that's bedside. The bedside extension on the bottom here because we had ourselves a little whammy going down the side of it here, along with an enormous rust hole. You know, Midwest things. And so we replaced it just to hack it back up again. So my plan for this, so that the truck fits in the garage, because the workbench is there, and when you have 30 foot of truck in a 25 foot long garage, it just doesn't fit as well as it should. So we're gonna go ahead and shorten this bed up some. The plan is to hack 8 inches out of the rear, 20 inches in the front, 12 inches in the front, 20 inches altogether. This is not an original idea. I kind of got some inspiration from a few folks out there on the tube. And, I say hack because my bodywork skills are that good. That's why when you see me doing things like putting the cut right here, well, geez, what goes there? Oh, piece of trim. Perfect. That way that doesn't have to be absolutely right, spot on. Same thing right here. Your tail light bezel wraps around there, so if you have an imperfection, just cover it up. This thing is not a show truck. This is going to be a driver. So we're going to start on the back because the molding is already off. The front will tackle, maybe a couple days from now. I have a feeling this is going to be an in-depth process, but we'll go through it together. You can watch me struggle away. I'm not absolutely terrible. I have a few brain cells that, tell me what to do, but let me get you set up here and we'll start marking this bad boy out. All right, so here we go. Pretty uncomfortable here, working out of my element, but with the help of the folks online, we're gonna try and do this together. So let's look at it. The instructions that I've seen are to move from this stake pocket over 2 inches, and then 8 inches from that, which would be 10. And this is the section we're going to start to remove. You can see that what I've done here is to take a square and line that up and strike a line. Do the same thing over on this side, and I've drawn the line. So that's step one, and I'm going to be really gentle with my tools, setting them down, because I know how it transfers through the microphone, and one of my pet peeves is just hearing tools slam around on steel surfaces. For me, if I'm going to try and make a video, I'm going to try and avoid that at all costs. So our next step then is to wrap up around the corner here, measure up 3 inches, 3 inches up this way. So let me get that done and I'll bring you back, or maybe I'll just leave you on camera and we can do it. Kind of get you zoomed in a little bit here. Okay, So I've got this tool that I got over at the HF, the Hazardous Factory. And so then I'm going to go ahead and lay that on the line that I have drawn previously, using my eyeball as a calibration tool. And I'm going to come up 3 inches from that, just make a little tick. I'll flip this over and I'll do it over here as well. And then we will make a little tick there. The next thing that is said is that we'll go ahead and continue on from these lines or dots. I'm making dots. And what I think I'm going to go ahead and do then is I'll go ahead and start laying out masking tape as I go along. And the reason for that is just kind of keeps me on the track where I need to be. We're going to use it as a guide for cutting anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and lay some down here. I've got this wonderful blue here, and I will just go ahead touch off, walk in front of you. And you can kind of watch the wrinkles in the tape to kind of tell you that you're going either to the correct direction or not. You can pull it over this way, you can see it bunching up, and when you land in the center there, that's when you know you pretty well got it. Okay, so got that piece laid. I don't know if it'll stretch or not. Doesn't look like it. And I'm going to lay my masking tape to the inside so everything is consistent. I will do the exact same thing here. Get my flashlight helper here. Make sure I get that good and wrinkly. The old hairy one eye. Again, kind of watch the masking tape. What is it doing? Let it tell you the story. Because we're certainly in no shape to tell the masking tape any stories. It's been around much longer than I have. I'm sure of it. Okay, and I'll just lay it down on gentle pressure because it doesn't need to be on there all cock strong and everything, because I'm sure it'll peel away some of this beautiful patina. So, all right, now find our 3-inch mark again. Yep, there it is. And we're doing quite well here. This guy on the old Coyote Customs, there's a few guys out there that look like they do this quite frequently. Metalox would be one, and then this Coyote Customs guy. The Metalox guy, he starts right here at the edge of this pocket, and with his tape he throws it down and it lines up over here. I tried doing that like 3 or 4 times and just could not get the hang of it. So we're going to use this little indicator right here and the very tip of our square, except for my square here doesn't have a tip on it, it's a squared off square. And we're going to line that little mark here right up with where I put my masking tape mark. And then Go right here, put a little tip mark. I'll do the exact same over here. Put another little tip there. So now I'm going to go ahead and draw my lines from my 3-inch mark on each side to the angle mark. The reason why we're doing an angle here is because the bedside swoops down, and at an angle we can connect the two, so the theory says, without having a great big old goofiness. So let's see, what can I use that is flexible and sturdy so I can connect those two? I do have a small piece of tape, or a thin measuring tape here. That might get us where we need to be. I'm sure there's other methods out there. Well, I don't know if I care for that a whole lot. That's pretty flimsy. That is pretty flimsy. Let me hunt around the garage here and see what I can find to strike off those lines. Let's try a hose clamp. This should be plenty rigid enough, I would hope. Yeah, I think that'll do her. And then we'll do the same thing here. The nice thing about this hose clamp is that it's, if I slip or something like that, it can add a little bit more patina line to the trunk here. Okay, there we go. Now, supposedly, we can now get like a framing square. Oh! Look at that. Got one right there. Still got 8 inches between our dots. Same here. Wow, nice. And then we line up each of these here, and then we'll strike the line down. Same over this way, and then we have to cut a jog in our thing here, because we're going to keep, I want to try and keep this reflector. Well, that was a federal mandate, you know, changing from, what was it, 1968 or something? Markers. But anyway, I've got one up front in there, so I better keep this one in back. I think it might look a little bit goofy if we left that out. So, I'm going to go ahead and line ourselves up here for success, hopefully. And I'm going to just very lightly make the line. And then the reason why we can get away with this is because we know that we stopped at the same point on each when we came up here with our triangle here, and we made that stop point. So we should be able to just continue on, and we'll double check ourselves here in a second with our measurements. See if we're still on the old 8 parade down the side here. Line that up. There we go. Shine some light on the subject here. And then, careful. I'll just very lightly do that. And then we'll lay down some lay down some masking tape, and then maybe do some cutting today. Again, we're going to watch what our masking tape's telling us. And I am no master at this. Let me preface this by saying that I have never done this before in my life. And this is probably going to be the last time I make an attempt at it, because box side cost plus freight is looking pretty good right about now. All right, stressful. Perfect right there. We're off by about a 1/2 I don't know if I should try and move that or not. Yeah, and it keeps shrinking down here. So which one's off? Can't really measure off of this side and come over and see where I've messed up, because we've got a lot of hooeys right there and one great big one right here. I'm running the other way. So every degree you're off, there's 17 thousandths of an inch per degree. So if you're off a little bit up here, you're off a lot down here. Okay, I think I got that squared away. Pretty close. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like I got a mess here, and I probably do. So let me get a razor blade out and cut away what we aren't gonna use, and we'll bring you back on here, because I had to make arrows here, keep my brain in check. So let's kind of trim away the fat in corporate terms and see what we end up with. See what we got. Okay, can we kind of see what's going on here? So basically we're going to cut down along here, around this way, and then down, leaving this back side with the reflector pocket. On this side we're going to cut this like so, around and down. This piece will fall out, and then this piece with the reflector pocket will fall in over here, if everything is done correctly. What's going to be really the key to it here is our preliminary measurements that we just completed. And when we'll double check, we're looking for 8 inches consistently all the way across. This width really doesn't matter as long as it's 90 degrees and square to each other. And then our handiwork with our zip cut. All right, let's kind of back away from this for a couple minutes, gather our wits, because slightly unnerving, and then we'll check our pulse and see what we feel like doing here. Okay guys, there it is. It's all measured up, triple and double checked, quadruple checked. Time to perform some surgery on this old girl. All right, here we are. We've made our cut on the front side. We flipped the bed over with the help of my lovely assistant, and then she ran away. So now, from the inside of this face to our tape line measures 1 3/4 inches. That's still maintaining this 2-inch mark here. So that's how that works out. So I've laid my tape lines down. I've maintained my 9 inches, or sorry, it's 8 inches here to here, and we're gonna zip that off. I can't tell you how shot my nerves are right now. I don't like doing this. But it's a necessary evil, so we're doing it. Okay folks, the grinding dust has settled and I have done a fit up here. I got a couple of these little deals. You put the peg through there and tighten them down, and it's supposed to pull the panel flush. Bought a couple of clamps because the man with the most clamps wins, always. And then it doesn't fit bad. I had a friend that has magic hands come over, and there was a big old whoop right here. He kind of did his magics on that, which lifted this whole thing up to meet here. This is looking good. This will be kind of lifted up and worked until about right here, and then we'll just roll the corner around, and then that leads us to right here where things don't exactly line up so good. But if you take and slide a pry bar through here, you can roll. It's hard to do this through the viewfinder. You can roll this up we go. We can roll it up and meet it, and it'll fall into place. I do have to make a couple of trims, highlighted there in black and there in black, but I think overall it'll turn out okay. Later on tonight, when I get back from dinner, I'm going to do another fit, and then we'll start tacking along. So, there's where we are. Does it look excellent? It looks good enough for me. Alright, well here we are. We're going to start laying down some tacks and trimming this bad boy in, as promised. So, I'm going to fire up the welder here. I normally don't use the inside the door settings because the inside the door settings on this Northern tool are way off. So I just go until it sounds good and the puddle looks the way I want it. Let me get started here. And that fan runs constantly, so I hope you don't hate it. I'm going to clean the schmoo out of the end of the torch head here, because there's a bunch of garbage there. Use a pry bar for that this time. You never know what you'll use. So, let's see what we can do. This may be a short-lived experience today too, because I'm not feeling exactly the best. So, we'll give it what I got until I don't have any more. I kind of got a fancy setup here. I got the block of wood running across the top so everything stays in that plane. And then I just kind of use my fingertips here. I can put one right there for sure. And I'll have to work it down over here. And then, as I showed you last night, we'll get after this hump and we'll work our way down this way. That one kind of looked like a runt candy. Has a little head sticking out. Whoa! And you just lay your eye across here. Daddy like. Okay, and then I'll just continue along like that. Move the panel so everything fits flush. Hit it with a tack every so often, and then every so often again, every so often again. And eventually we'll make our way all the way down here. I'll put you on fast motion and you can watch me do a little bit now. Okay, we're making some progress. We just have to make sure it's nice and smooth and not doing anything stupid. So I think we're out of the hard part here. We're gonna come across here. That ain't too bad. Got to run the zip cut right across here. I can weld that, guaranteed. That's a gap. I might have to get creative. And then we'll work our way down here. All right, folks, happy Saturday. We've got one quarter of the bedside complete, and now we're working on the back. So very much the same story as before. Line up your gaps, make sure everything's nice and smooth across, and then just very slowly work your way down, and then take a beverage break and sit for a while and contemplate why. And then back to another round. And the way that I like to do this, I'll just kind of explain it as I do a tack, and then I work my way along about every 6 inches, and then I start over about a ½ inch from where I started the last time, and then tack, and then again tack, and then when we start getting real close like this, and I'm not quite there yet because I'm going to wait until the whole panel is that close, but I'll start doing series of 3s or 4s, tack, 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 then move down, tack, 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 then I move down, tack, tack, tack. That way the heat kind of, it's not hot, but it's blending nicely. You don't have all these, whatever, ant hills all over the place. And then when I get done, I'll go back and grinder smooth, and I'll flip it over and I'll show you guys the back side. And then I still have this dreaded front side to do. And then another one. Body work is not my strong suit, and I have like zero patience. So neither one of those things go together very good. But I'm determined, and that's what will win the game. Either that or it'll be fire up the credit card, order 2 new bedsides. Stay tuned. Maybe comment down below and tell me what you think I should do. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking like here. Do 5 tacks, 4 or 5 tacks, move along, wrap around, 4 or 5 tacks like that. That way it kind of melts in, but still your panel hotness stays down. And this is super thick shit, so I mean, if you were doing this on a newer car, you might not be able to get away with it. But just gonna keep on moving along now. All right, well, that didn't take too long. Maybe 2 hours? I don't know. Let's take a look. I got a little bit wider of a grind mark than I would like, but it's also on the inside of the bed, and there isn't anything I can do about it. But looks good, turned out good. Wrapped the corner, everything looks all right. There's our opposite side here. I'll flip it over here in a second, but I'm gonna hit that with some primer quick, and just so we aren't rusting away. And let's see what we can come up with. See how it matches. Wow, easy. Really hammered it in there. There, that doesn't look bad. Maybe it'll dry. Maybe I can feather it in. Oh man, look at that. What a blend job. I'd say that's pretty successful. And it's protected. And there. That'll be okay. Let's flip it over and take a look at the front side. Alrighty. Here's our front side here. Kind of see that's where we stopped spray painting. And we're wrapping it around. And this isn't bad at all, actually. This is nice and flat all the way through until we get to about right here. And I started having some struggle. This panel did not want to line up with this. I did do some hammer and dolly work, but we still have a low right through here. And let's see if I can show it here. So it's not terrible. There's a little bit right there, but then we kind of work our way down. You can kind of see it coming in, and I'm not super thrilled. It's probably bondable. I mean, it's probably, what, 1/8 of an inch? I don't know if my experienced body man friend can do that or not for me. I will ask him though. The other thing, I don't want to wrap this corner into this and weld it solid, because that corner, if he's going to try and manipulate right through here, that will lock that in if I weld that up. So I'm going to hold off on that. Now, I have to do the front. But before I do the front, I need to do a garage roundup here, because it is absolutely ridiculous. Just a mess. All right, here we are. We've got our trim pulled off here. I think those are just little 3/8 nuts, I believe. I just did it, I just don't remember. Hold on. Yep, 3/8. Pops right off of there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my square on here, and this bedside on the front hasn't really seen a whole lot of damage, so I feel pretty comfortable. And I'll just go ahead and maybe make a mark here, 3/8 on the inside, all the way up, and then I'll lay a piece of tape down. We got to get up here to the top and make a jog for the stake pocket. And then once we do all that nonsense, we can come over here from our 3/8 mark over 12 inches, follow it up parallel, whoop, up we go, and then again jog over 12 inches. That way we can keep the stake pocket. So let me find a marker here. Okay, when in doubt, the junk drawer never fails to produce. So let's see. I'll go 3 ticks and I'll go half inch here. Okay, dot. I'll just kind of do this all the way up here. Dot. 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 Yep, you're right. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so that's going to be my line here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make my line, probably with marker first, and then I'll measure over 12 inches. When we get up here, I'll flip the camera over, or I'll take you to the other side. And then we'll see what we got going on. Here we go. I can lay my Johnson across here. My Johnson. I can lay my Johnson across here and measure with it. I got a hell of a shadow today. I don't have any you know what? Let's just tape it. I'm gonna say all my flashlights are on the charger. So let's see what we can do with a piece of tape. All right. All right, now we can kind of see how we did. See what that looks like. On the money. On the money. Oh man, I feel like Elvis Presley. Except for still alive. Okay. 1/2 inch on the mark. So we're gonna cut on this side over here, over here. That way I don't get wackadoo and forget what I'm doing. Totally possible. Okay, now 12 inches. I could probably lay my Johnson on there and measure 12 inches. Yeah, I think we can do that. That's okay, we can go slow. Not really what I wanted to do on a Sunday afternoon, but you know, if you just sit around and think about what you're going to do, you never actually get anything done. So we'll keep marching along. All right, so this is where it gets scary for me. We'll just lay our tape down, and I'm going to lay this one to the inside. That way we don't have to worry about peeling off masking tape. Okay. Now we'll get our tape measure out. We'll measure again, and then we got to tackle the top there. Let me gather myself. Alrighty, here we are. So I'm going to try and stay out of your way here, and I'll give you the general idea, because the garage is a little tiny, so I have to work within the constraints that I'm in. So let's see. I'm going to come up here about 2 1/16. Yeah, somewhere in there. What happened to my pen? There we go. 2 1/16. I'll find another mark over here. 2 1/16. Same. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay a piece of tape across, pretty good length. I'm going to come across, down, so that'll save that stake pocket. And then, from that point, come over 12 inches, come across and down. Then everything will shift over this way. And then we'll fire up the old rotisserie slicer and cut that thing up. I gotta mark out the backside too. I'll flip that over. I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do it, but I'm sure it's probably just gonna be 2 straight lines down. I'll have to put some thought into it, but let's go ahead and get this thing marked, and we go from there. So, let me see. So it's not help being farsighted. We'll just go out to 20 inches. That'll give us plenty. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and save this stake pocket. Basically come over here. Let's make it an easy number to measure. Let's go with, let's see, 4 inches. Okay, so there we go. Now, we can lay some tape. So from this 4-inch mark over, we'll end up at 16 over here. So let's do that. And I can use my Johnson for this one here. Wow, that's pretty impressive there, Matt. So now, what we should have, we pull out our tape measure, we should have 12 inches on the money from one line to the other, and we do. So we can lay our tape down. Okay, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and do some razor blade work, and I'll bring you back with the finished product here. All right, here we are. So I had to move my line. Had to move my line over just a bit to compensate for my twisted bracket here, but no big deal. And I didn't really want to jog the tape, but I did anyway. So we still got our 12 inches here, and then we're over the top. We're jogged over. Let me flip this thing for you. Okay. So here we are. We saw this before, 12 inches there. And then, as promised, we're up here at the top. And we've got, let's see here. Got ourselves a little bit extra wide on the gap. Or not wide, but we had to go over here. So basically, we're gonna keep this outer edge, slice along here and then up. So we'll be keeping this portion here. Not very much, but it's enough. And then we've got 12 inches from here to here, here to here. So this middle section here will be missing when we're done. And then this section right here. So I'm gonna fire up the old whiz wheel and get after it. Maybe I'll put you guys in fast motion here. We'll see. But this ought to get pretty interesting. Again, I am no professional, and this is my first time doing this, and kind of shitting bricks. So, trying to figure out what I want to do first. I'll probably work my way down. And this will fall away, and this will fall away, and then we'll move that back up and over. Pretty scary stuff. Well, we're making progress here. Got this front side tacked up, and folks, this stuff isn't the easiest thing. Well, for me anyway. You're a non-patient body man. Hashtag. So basically, you know, we're working our way along, putting in little tacks. We've got our little screwdriver working this side up and down as best as we can to keep that flat. We know there's a couple of things that can help us here. So this ridge along here is pretty stout, pretty strong. So we're not going to be moving that a whole bunch. And that should have stayed in place when we cut it anyhow. However, the larger piece here, which is the bedside, you know, will have flexed when we cut it. I struggled a lot with this because we can see that this doesn't line up very well right here. And that's because when we lifted this bed off, we tweaked that bed stake. And in the grand scheme of things, when we laid our tape out, you know, and all that, with this piece over here, we didn't notice the small bend right in that area. So when we put this thing all together again, and this is all nice and flat through here, well, now we've seen our bend here. So I think what we'll end up doing is we'll take a ratchet strap maybe and pull this as best we can back down into flat. But what I did, and we can see our lines got a little bit wide, and that could have been due to cutting along that tape, but it's good up here. It gets a little bit tight even, but what I did is I lined this body line up. That's where I started on this side. We couldn't do anything with the top here laying a straight edge across because that, like I just explained, that was bent. So we had to pick a spot. And this is the spot I picked. It all laid out good. We wrapped the corner here. And now we're going to go along and do some tacking. Another thing you want to do is you want to watch the back side also. So I took my 2x4 and a couple of wood clamps, and where this mates to the bed floor, I made that like a solid stop, if you will. So we knew that that would have to stay. You know, some of those folks that do these probably for other folks or whatever, they have a method maybe that they use, and they've done them a lot, so they also have experience. This is my first time kind of mimicking what they're doing out there, and I mean, I'm 4 weeks into this bedside. Now keep in mind I've got other things going on besides this, but this is something you're not going to want to rush. If you're planning on getting this thing painted, also your body man is going to have to fix your mistakes with Bondo or whatever, so you want to make it as easy as you can on him. And also, you know, if you're planning on not having body work done at all, you're going to kind of want to make it look good, kind of with that patina look. But I mean, we've got a 1969 bedside here. It's older than I am by 12 years. Is that right? Yeah, something like that. So it's up there in age, and you know, as we get older, we all have our dents and bruises and scrapes and stuff. But we're just gonna keep on tacking along on here. I'll bring you along here in a little bit. I'm just gonna keep on working here. No one wants to watch the tacking process because tacking is taxing. Something to think about. Whew, all right, well, here we go. We're all welded up now. Let's take a gander. There it is. And boy, do I have a lot to grind. But it looks straight. When we grind it, we'll find out. So we'll get suited and booted. We got our PPE here. Got our hearing protection, eyes, fancy dust mask made by Miller. That's actually a really nice piece too, because it exhausts right through here. And your glasses won't fog up. They are getting pricey though. I don't remember how much I picked that up for, but it was worth every penny, because you don't end up with the black boogers and hacking up crap for the next 3 days. So I'm going to grind. We'll throw some sparks. We'll make a mess out of the garage. And I'll bring you right on back and we'll take a look at the finished progress of the front side. All right, what a ride. So, here we go. Let's take a gander. Look how nice. Just look across it too. Smooth. Flat. Just like Nebraska. Okay. There we go. So now we're going to flip it over and do the opposite side. I'll bring you along for this one. We got some lining up to do, I bet you. But I'm pretty excited about that. Just the narrowest of bands. So, good stuff. Well, I became hyper-focused there. listening to one of my favorite bands from the 2000s, Breaking Benjamin. But we didn't make it very far because pull a project. We were able to pull this corner down. I used a bigger vice grip and just pinched it across there and it came right down. Then we used our little screwdriver and manipulated this into shape. A little bit bigger gap there than I would have liked, but we can jump a gap. This, I know I'm gonna struggle with this. She's, you know, you got the cross cut in there, and then you've got the corner. We'll burn through that probably 600 to 750 times. So then we flipped her over, and we're just using a combination of these T blocks or whatever you call them from the HF and the screwdriver, and we're just getting that nice and smooth across there, and then putting a little tack. We're working our way down this way towards the bottom. We don't want to work the opposite way. The reason is because you could potentially, you know, get something going on that's funky and push it right up into this corner and then have yourself a hell of a mess. Speaking of which, take a look at that. Yeah, we really did a number on there. Maybe we'll take some flat stock and weld it on there and twist that back into shape. I don't know, or we'll just leave it for character. But we're working our way down nice and smooth. Nice gap. And we get right to there. I might leave that wood there and then make a couple of tacks and start a small fire. We got a little bit of a strap with very, very little tension on it. We're just kind of pulling that just a little bit. But again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Man with the most clamps wins. A lot of truth to that statement when you work by yourself. So let me throw some tacks down and we'll bring you right on back. We're having fun today. Get to go to the car show here in a little bit. The new car show. See how much inflation's got a hold of the car market and all the gadgets and buttons. What are your guys' opinions on the computerized infotainment center where you actually have to take your eyes off the road and look to see where you're pushing? I would think that National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration would have put a kibosh of that bullshit a long time ago. But then again, who knows? Anyway, rant over. Let's get started. Well, here we are, new day. Finish is complete. Look at how nice that looks. And we're gonna splatter it with some flat red primer because that matched pretty well over here. And it's just the inside of the bed. We took the loose pieces off of the inside here where the wheel well goes and kind of hit it with some rust prep. Pretty sure that's the same thing as OSPHO, which is phosphoric acid, I believe. Also the same thing as navel jelly or belly button lint. So let's oh, I wanted to show you this. Look at how nice I got that brought down. That turned out pretty good. That bad boy's still tweaked and probably will be for the rest of my life. So anyway, got that shaken or shooken, and we'll just give her a little. So I'm going to continue on with that. I did do a little patch piece right here. There was a rust hole. I'll try and find a spot in the video where I can show you that. That didn't turn out too bad. This is really thin here. I tried getting a little spot of weld to tack there and it would not do it. So it'll be what it's going to be. But I'm pretty happy with this. The only thing that I'm not happy with is I have one more bedside to do. Not thrilled. but it's probably cheaper than, you know, a couple spools of welding wire and some gas and some talent. And broadening your horizons is probably easier than finding original short bed sides if you want to do OEM. They make repops. I've heard they aren't very good, especially in the taillight buckets, but who am I to say? Anyway, that pretty much wraps up this episode. I'll do some flyby action camera shots here for the end, but for right now, I'm just going to spray some primer on and call it a day. As always, we appreciate you guys for watching, and tune in next Friday because we got a real banger out there. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but they're all pretty much bangers if you ask me. So anyway, we'll see you soon.